All right, let's talk about something that's an absolute game changer if you're trying to land your first tech job. We're going to walk through the top 10 SQL queries you are almost guaranteed to see in an interview. Let's get you ready.
So, are you, really ready? Because let's be honest, the pressure of a technical interview is no joke. But preparation changes everything. We're going to turn that anxiety into pure confidence by breaking down the exact questions that hiring managers love to ask.
Think of this as your own personal mock interview. We'll kick things off with the absolute must-knows and build up from there. This is all about covering the basics that prove you really know how to talk to a database.
Okay, let's start with the core 5. These are the true building blocks of SQL. If you can master these, you've built a rock-solid foundation for everything else that comes your way. First up, the classic show me everything query. Select S* as your best friend when you just need a quick peek at a table. But, and this is a big but, the interviewer wants to hear you say that in a real job, you almost never do this. Why? Well, it's just inefficient. You're making the database do a ton of extra work, pulling data you might not even need. A real pro only asks for the specific columns they're after. That's the mark of someone who gets it.
So you've got all this data. Now how do you find the exact piece of information you need? Well, that's where the where clause becomes your favorite tool. It's your main filter. You want to find employees making over 50 grand? Easy. You just tell the database, hey, select everything from employees where the salary is greater than 50,000. It's so simple, incredibly powerful, and trust me, you'll be using it constantly.
You know, data isn't very useful if it's just a giant, messy pile. You got to organize it. And for that, we use order by. It lets you sort your results. So if you want to see employees by their joining date, you'd order by joining date. Now, here's a little pro tip for your interview. ASC for ascending is actually the default, so you don't have to type it, but mentioning that and also knowing you can use DESC for descending shows the interviewer you're not just guessing.
Okay, so far we've been pulling back lists of data, right? Rows and rows of names and numbers, but what if you don't need the details? You just need a quick summary, like how many employees do we have? That's where aggregate functions come in, and count is the most common one. Count asterisk literally just counts up all the rows in your table. Boom, one number, done.
So how do we build on that? What if you need to know not just the total employee count, but the count for each department? Now we're talking. You just combine that count we just learned with group by. You tell the database, first group all the employees by their department, and then run a count on each of those groups. Just like that, you're creating actual summary reports. This is a huge step.
All right, you've totally got the fundamentals down, so let's level up. We're moving into combining data from different tables and using some more advanced tricks to get the precise answers you need.
Now pay close attention because this one is huge. In the real world, data is never in one giant perfect table. It's usually split up. You've got a customers table here, an orders table over there. So the million-dollar question is, how do you connect them?
So take a look at this. We have two separate tables. One has our customers, the other has their orders. You see that customer ID column in both? That's our bridge. That's the key that links them together. Our goal is to create a single view that shows the customer's name right next to their order.
And the magic words are inner join. This is how you do it. You literally tell the database to combine the two tables, and the on keyword specifies the rule. Join them where the customer ID in the orders table matches the customer ID in the customer's table.
And voila, look at the result. The database finds the matches and gives us this perfect combined table. But wait a second, look closely. Where's Sam Ray? He vanished. Why? Because an inner join only returns results where there's a match in both tables. Sam hasn't placed an order, so he's not in the results. That's a super important detail. And this is exactly the kind of follow-up question a good interviewer will ask. They're testing your depth. They'll say, okay, that's great, but what if the business needs to see all customers, even the ones who haven't bought anything yet?
For that, you need a left join. Think of it this way. It tells the database, give me everything from the first or left table, which is our customers table. Then try to match it with something from the orders table. If there's no match, no problem. Just put a null there. And with a left join, our friend Sam Ray is back on the list. He'll just have a null value for his order ID.
Okay, time for a quick but critical theory question. What is a primary key? It's not just another column, it's a rule. Think of it like a unique ID number for every single row in a table. Its job is to guarantee that every row is unique. That means no duplicates, and it can never be empty.
It's the absolute foundation of reliable data. All right, here's a classic problem-solving question. You need to find all the employees who make more than the company average. See the tricky part? You have to figure out the average first before you can even start looking for the employees. So how do you pull that off in one go?
The answer is a really cool trick called a subquery. It's basically a query inside another query. The database is smart. It runs the inner query first, the part that calculates the average salary. That gives it a single number. Then the outer query just uses that number in its where clause to find everyone who earns more. It's elegant, efficient, and makes you look like a pro.
And for our final question, here's one that tests if you know that SQL can have little quirks depending on the system you're using. The task: get the top 5 highest paid employees. The logic is the same everywhere, order by salary from high to low, but the syntax is different. MySQL and PostgreSQL use limit 5 at the very end of the query, but SQL Server uses top 5 right at the beginning. Knowing these little variations shows you're ready for the real world.
So there you have it, 10 essential queries. But knowing the right answers is only half the battle. There's one last piece of advice that really ties everything together. And here it is. This is the key. Theory is not enough. The absolute best way to prepare is to get your hands dirty. Seriously, find some sample databases online, download some real datasets, and just start playing. Try to answer real questions with your code. This hands-on experience is what truly separates a good candidate from a great one.
We've walked through the code, we've covered the concepts, you have the map. Now the next step is yours. You have to practice this until it becomes second nature. Because in the end, an interview isn't just about knowing the answers. It's about proving you're ready to solve real problems. Now go get them.